moved back.
With you?
No, he's living with me. They're gonna sign a lease on a house in April, 1st April. But he went to the baseball card shop on,
Said it all.
Close around the farm, I've got glass.
I usually,
They break.
in
I
my
store
car,
them
I
in
have
the
3 or
dumpster.
4. You do? Yeah.
My
I have
truck's,
3 or 4.
my truck's got them all showed.
he runs the card shops, and I said,
my
I didn't know he did it. I
revise
said, I
when
know
we're
Eric
done.
does
Okay.
it, or is it part of that?
He just has stuff in there. He's not ownership
Yes,
or
I do.
anything.
And this one is frosted, so it looks like I have a smudge on my eye constantly. So I think I'm gonna have it fixed.
You got a lease coming
It
up.
all here.
You're not living with me forever.
Man, get out.
Oh,
Are we on yet, Deb? Are we on?
Get
Okay.
Eric, look at his Boston Red Sox stuff.
Order. Can everybody hear? Well, yeah. We're going to call to order the county council meeting for April 1st, 2024. Apologize for us running a little bit late this evening. We were invited to Warren County Extension, provided us dinner this evening upstairs, so we got our bellies full before we got down here. And as my uncle used to say, Kimmy can put away some groceries, so. So if you'll all stand, I think Vicky's going to lead us in prayer, and Troy will lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to meet here in a free country, have these open meetings and people have a part in them. We just pray that you be with our public safety. Dear Lord, we just see it in the news every day where public safety officials are attacked and killed, and it's just merciless. Dear Lord, we just pray that you be with those who are running the ambulances and providing those services as well, and just keep us all safe, dear Lord. Be with our nation as a whole, and be with other countries that are under duress, being attacked from outside agencies and other countries. And dear Lord, let's just all learn to get along, work well together. Be with this county, dear Lord, as we face growth and opportunities. Let the people understand our work at hand here, and may it be pleasing to everyone. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, and this past yesterday, the Easter season. All these things we pray in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Vicki. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes for our March 4th meeting? Questions, comments, or changes? Hearing none, I look for a motion to approve.
Brian Culp will make a motion to approve.
Melissa Green will second.
I have a motion by Brian Culp, seconded by Melissa Green. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries 7-0. And let the record show all council members are in attendance this evening. And did everyone get a copy of the treasurer's report and the clerk's report? Any questions or comments on that? We don't need to approve it, just that we've acknowledged that it's received.
And you also have budgetary and financial statement. The budgetary and financial statement prepared by the auditor's office goes through as of April 1st, and then the management, monthly management reports from Reedy that you'll be receiving every month are here.
It's nice to have those. Thank you. Did I say, I don't see, oh, Deb's here, okay. We have additional appropriation from the coroner, and looks like Deputy Coroner's here to go over that with us. Hello.
Mike's a little under the weather, so
Oh,
came in his stead, if that's
sorry to
okay.
hear that.
So anyway, we need to, kind of transfer, but I put it different. but
Tip
in our
your mic
vehicle-
down, Deb.
Yeah.
In our vehicle lease rental, there's $15,000. It was originally under the cumulative capital, but it needs to be under the vehicle lease rental. So I'm not sure what happened in the budget, but, so it's just
So it went under the cumulative capital, and now you just need to, in
move
your
it to
budget.
the vehicle lease rental. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll reduce it out of the cum cap later in the meeting and then it's going to be an additional into the coroner's budget. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Questions?
Well, I was looking to see where it was at further down, but we can come back to that. Were there any questions or comments on the request for the additional? Okay, thank you.
Do you want them both in one motion?
So you want to pull them both at once?
Sure, it's fine with me.
Make it, Vicki?
Chip, where you going?
Am I going where?
Making the motion?
Am I going where?
Motion to approve, the additional appropriation of 15,000 and also the reduction of 15,000 from our Cume cap.
Thank you, Chip.
Vicky, or Troy will sprinkle it.
Calm down, Vicki. Calm down. She did not drink upstairs.
Didn't have anything to drink up there. Straight up water.
I hear these guys talking to my side, so.
So we have a motion by Chip Keller for the additional appropriation and the reduction in the Cume capital for $15,000. We have a second by Troy Sprinkle. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Comedy hour's over. All right.
Oh, my
Next, we have an additional under the Local Health Maintenance Fund, and I know these numbers scared me a little bit when I first saw them, but I think we're going to get an explanation of how this is.
We'll explain away. So yeah, I'm Trisha Runnigan. Just got to meet a few of you up at your meal. New director with the health department. So I have Elizabeth Young with me, our environmental health specialist. She's going to help hopefully answer any questions that you guys might have with specifics. We want to request appropriations for the health maintenance fund in the amount of $57,254.89, and from our trust account in the amount of $157,646.70. So these funds, you've probably heard of like the tobacco settlement funds. They've been called that. They've been called our legacy funds in the past. The state, with our new funds coming in for local health departments, the Health First Initiative funds, with those funds coming in, we will no longer be receiving funds from the tobacco settlement fund. So these two funds are basically just going to go away, and the state is recommending that we spend them down before we start spending more of our Health First dollars. And then if you guys would be entertained, I can do a quick overview of what the Health First dollars are, if you guys haven't gotten these quick facts. Thank you. Yet. So basically, 2021, legislation decided that we needed to kind of look into our public health funding. We're pretty low in the state of Indiana. So in 2021, they formed the Governor Public Health Commission. And then in 2023, they have the Governor's Public Health Commission report that they came out of. From that report, they're looking at things like data, capacity, infrastructure, specifically child and adolescent health, et cetera. And what they realize is that local health departments are severely underfunded and do not have capacity to do even some of the basic things that we need to do. That was obviously largely found during COVID. We don't want that situation to happen again. So they did a deep dive into not only like workforce and capacity, but also our funding. So typically we spend about $11 per person in Morgan County on public health. So if you think about what can you do for $11 for a person for their health, right? With the additional funds that we're getting from the state will be, and if the county continues to fund us how they have in the past, we'll be at about $20 per person. So again, $20, what can you do for overall wellness for a person? But we're getting better, is the point. So this year we received the $726,000 and some change from the state. Next year that should close to double from the state. So again, these funds are going away. Some of the allowable expenses here are just really building out our software. We need to digitize things. If you guys are ever interested in coming up and looking at our records from 1978, feel free. We have a lot in the basement and up in the health department, but that is all on paper. We do not have anything that has been digitized. That's septics, that's foods, et cetera. Yeah, so we're looking to digitize those things. we're just looking to make things more efficient. We want better access. We'd like things to be more searchable on our website. We want better transparency with the community. So that's a relatively long explanation of what's happening with these two funds and then where we're trying to go with them. Elizabeth has a few demos with some software companies. We're trying to decide which one works best for us. We've been talking with other counties of what's working best for them. So if you have any specific questions about what this can do for food permitting and septics, Elizabeth is here. But
The only thing I would be cautious of is sometimes things that we've gotten into in the past, we didn't realize there was a cost for ongoing use of that.
Yes.
So just be attentive to any ongoing costs that you're entering into. And of course, any contractual agreements have to be done through the commissioners. So we can't enter into any of those contractual things without the commissioner's approval. But yeah, sometimes down the road we found, oh, we got this, but now there's an ongoing cost to it of, $4,000 a year or whatever. And
Right.
so we just want to be attentive to those.
yes, definitely. And that's something we're looking at. Our 2025 budget for these Health First dollars are actually due here in a few weeks. So that is definitely a line item that we plan to have in there. Yeah.
Appreciate that. So you've listed things that kind of earmarked for those funds, and I appreciate that because I was kind of wondering, I understand we have to spend it down, but I was glad you put what you're actually going to use it for.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Josh, is there a certain company that the county's using to digitize their stuff?
Linda and Devin both use somebody, I don't know the name of that company, they can tell you.
Two different SPS portals and informational records.
I think informational records is one of the ones that we do have a quote from. I think that's what we've actually put in the budget that we sent to the state, so.
So there you'd have a proven success rate.
Yeah, we've been talking with Laura about the geo permitting. They're going through that process right now, so sounds like it's going relatively smoothly.
Okay.
Anyone else? No questions? I look for a motion.
I do have a question.
Okay, you go right ahead.
Because we're looking, I'm just looking further down in the agenda, and we have a request for all kinds of microfilm and digitizing equipment. And I don't know if that's completely different than what she's talking about. That's a scan, okay, so that's completely different.
Good system,
Okay,
but good thought.
okay.
There be no further questions. Vicki Kivett makes a motion that we approve the additional of $57,254.89 out of local health fund maintenance 1168.
We have a motion by Vicki Kivett,
Jason Maxwell seconds.
seconded by Jason Maxwell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Did you want to address the next portion of that, Vicki, on the 157,000? That's another portion of that spend
Yeah.
down.
That's the spend down, correct?
Both parts were.
Vicki Kivett makes a motion that we approve $157,646.70 additional from the local health department trust account number 1206, with that being $112,000 into contractual services, $45,646.70 into equipment.
Thank you. We have a motion by Vicki Kivett
Troy Sprinkle, second.
with Troy Sprinkle seconding. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries 7-0. And just to be clear, that is a request from the state to spend down those funds before moving on to the Health First dollars. So
Right.
just want to be clear on that. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, and the commissioners, a property acquisition was, Josh, are you going to talk to us about that?
Good evening, council. It's really up to you. If you want, our additional request is pretty part and parcel with the rest of the agenda items after the RDC presentation. Would you like to couple those all together or treat them separately?
I'm good with all together.
Okay. Well, then why don't we let Chelsea do that part, and then I'll come back up.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Chelsea Mans is going to come up from the Morgan County Redevelopment Commission and discuss with us the annual report.
Yes, hello, thank you so much.
Welcome, Chelsea.
Good to be here. You get this report, it is a requirement every April 15th for the previous year. It must be uploaded into Gateway. So we always work together, I work together with Auditor's Office to complete this report. It's always sent out both to the commissioners and the council in advance of that April 15th deadline. New statutory requirements is that it has to formally be presented to the fiscal body. So that is what I'm here doing this evening. I'll just go over a couple of what I would consider the quick high-hitting sections. Section C is the revenue received during 2023. The property tax, which TIF, tax increment financing, revenue received was $3,101,496.58. Interest payment was $128,831.95, and rent was $12,000, and that is from Wallace Construction that leases property owned by the Redevelopment Commission near the wastewater treatment plant. The expenditures made during 2023 and the general purpose thereof, that's Section D if you're following along in your report. $1,115,000 bond principal payment, $379,481.26 bond interest, $196,502.96 professional service fees, $32,984 contractual services, $15,115.02 transfer to debt service reserve, $7,626 for Waverly Park development, $950, $950.54 interlocal agreement with Hendricks County, $500 bond insurance, and $253.92 for legal notices and advertising. I'm going to flip to Section F, which is a summary, and that's going to be the last one that I'm going to go over, although I'm happy to take any questions after. We hired new legal counsel in 2023, Adam Sturwald, who's a partner at Barnes & Thornburg, became legal counsel at the beginning of 2023. Continued work at Waverly Wastewater Treatment Plant. The commission did not pass through any excess TIF revenues, which is a determination that has to be made by June 15th of every year for the following year. The commission terminated, this is kind of the big thing that happened last year. The commission terminated and dissolved the existing West Point TIF area. Then they created West Point TIF 2 and West Point TIF 3, also adding to the acquisition list. This was a deal that took years, quite frankly, of negotiations, and was a true partnership with Hendricks County as well as the developer. So West Point is that area north of 70 that's split between Hendricks and Morgan County. So there was outstanding TIF, there was outstanding debt that Hendricks County issued, and Morgan County TIF pledged their support. So all TIF proceeds were going to the Hendricks County bonds. They relinquished that, and we started over. So it took years of negotiating, but very excited that we got to where we did. And they were now able to issue additional new bonds. So there are 5 buildings out there between the Morgan and Hendricks County sides both right now. This additional bond issuance will allow for more growth. So we were kind of at a standstill, and additional dollars were needed for infrastructure. The Eagle Valley Enhancement Economic Development Area was amended. That also created the Wetzel Trace Allocation Area, which is over 144 and I-69, the southwest corner there. Additional work was completed on Waverly Park, and that really highlights the majority of the work done last year. So again, I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone else may have about what the Redevelopment Commission did in 2023. I know we have 2 members who serve dual roles as well on the council, so if they'd like to chime in or if they can help answer any questions also.
Troy and I both serve on the Morgan County Redevelopment Commission, and it gets interesting at times.
Yes, it does.
Very, very busy.
And there's a lot happening in our county. But Chelsea does a great job.
Yes,
kind of
she does.
juggling all those things that are going on, and we're very proud to have her. Any questions on the report?
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are nothing to vote on. We just acknowledge that it's received. So let the record show we have received our annual report from the Morgan County Redevelopment Commission. All right. Looks like we have a Josh, do you want me to go ahead with the 2024 salary ordinance first and then? Oh, we can, yeah. Yeah, we did kind of skip over that. Let's see. Well, where was it? I don't have it on my. Is it on here? But it's not on my agenda. It's not on my agenda. I don't think I got the full. Didn't print on mine. I need to get another page here. It looks like,
It's in our
okay,
packet.
you're going to get that for me? Sorry about that. I didn't skip it. I didn't have it.
Have two
Thank
of
you.
three.
Does everyone else have this second page? No, none of us do.
It's in our packet that got emailed out.
Two.
Go by it, so.
The one time you
Okay.
didn't.
Yep, we're fine.
There's also the.
That's what I.
I'll get a copy of this because we don't have what we need. I mean, I can pull my one out from what I printed, but
Yeah, I've got mine from
It's in your packet.
that they emailed.
then she said, don't use that. So I thought things had changed. Okay. Okay,
She's advertising on.
sorry about that. There we go. Take one and pass it.
How about the press?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keith, there's an extra copy. When it gets down to Chip, there should be an extra one for you.
This one must be his. Okay. Okay, so where are we?
Starting at, oh,
Is it the record? So where are we? We've done the corner, where transfer records? Okay. All right, Records Department, transfer. Thank you, Tammy. Sorry for the confusion.
So there it is, I see.
All right. Ready?
Ready. Go right ahead.
Okay. I am requesting the transfer from records to equipment for microfilm equipment in the basement of the courthouse where we have old microfilm. I think Vicki was the one that purchased the equipment and she said around 2006. Is that right, Vicki?
I left
She was
in
thinking.
'06 and it was before that. It's probably more like '04.
So it's been on its last leg for a while. I was hoping I could get through until we moved to here and then purchase the equipment, but it's not gonna make it.
Make it?
So,
Okay.
I did get a hold of Malcon, who's our Title 4D incentive funds vendor, and he said we could use 8.8% of the total cost to come out of those funds. So that's around $1,117.
Okay, so where the total cost of the equipment is $12,702.84?
Yes.
Okay, and then the 8.8%, okay.
Would
Come to the
come
total.
out of incentives.
Yep. So we have a request of a transfer of $11,584.99 from First Deputy Records to equipment.
Chip Keller will make a motion to approve that.
Chip, we have a motion by Chip Keller.
Jason Maxwell seconds.
Maxwell, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tammy.
I hope it lasts another 18 years.
Yes. We have looks like, is this another transfer? Yep.
EMS.
Brent, you want to come up and explain this one to us?
So also left you all a sheet of paper just to give you a quick update on EMS, to give you an idea of where we are. Since we did a wage increase in 2024, You've given me the opportunity to recruit staff. We've hired 14 people over the last 3 months, 6 full-time, 4 full-time EMTs, and then a handful of part-time people. In doing that, it's important that we keep track of the wages and see what's going on with the overtime. So what I tried to do is draw you out a baseline of where wages are with the overtime, with their salaries, compared to 2023 and 2024. And you'll see those in the green and the blue lines. The other lines are the actual expenses of payroll for each year for the first 7 pay periods. And you can see that the deviation between the baseline between the 2 years has decreased. So that means we're utilizing our wages well, we're under budget, and we're operating better than we were in 2023 as far as the wages are concerned. I hope that makes sense to you.
Well, just to clarify for me, so the green line and the blue lines, those are kind of, you said baseline, but that's like the budgeted amount for each of those years?
Those aren't the budgeted amounts. Those are baselines, so those don't include like if an employee takes off and we have another employee cover that shift. So we have a higher budgeted amount. We are operating under budget. Yeah, we are operating under budget and within budget, so, yeah, so don't be scared with that part. The important part.
We had some
of-
frightening moments in the past.
The important part of this was that the deviation, the percentages for each pay are much less than they were the previous year, which lets us understand that, we've got a baseline, we're operating closer to that baseline than we were last year.
Good.
So that was important. And then the backside just gives you an indication of the call volume versus last year. And then collections by the billing company and how well they're doing with the new legislation that went through to increase the returns.
Are you happy with the current provider that you're using? Is that working well with
Yes.
on the collections?
Yeah, they do a great job.
Good.
So the reason I come to you tonight is I overlooked our equipment line item budget when we did the budgeting. That's 40,000 equipment line, and that's the only equipment, or that's the only item that we have in that line item. So to have that unfunded is not good for certain things that we need to get accomplished long-term. So what I did is I kind of went through and cherry-picked some areas where I felt like we could pull some money from.
Okay.
And that's what I'd like to do, is I'd like to move some of that money into that line item so I could utilize that for certain things that we need as furniture, a replacement Murphy bed for the supervisor's office, some chairs, and replacement bags and equipment for the ambulances.
Okay. And these areas that you've looked at taking those from, you don't foresee needing additionals later in those?
No, I don't. I not right now anyhow. I think with our staff, since we have a lot newer staff, I think the training will be minimal, and we have a lot of things on hand that we can do in-house that won't involve outside travel or conventions or things like that.
Okay.
And we still have a fair amount in those line items. There's also other items within those categories that I can move around
Move
and
around
shuffle
yourself
on
within
my,
those.
on
Okay.
my own, yeah.
Okay. All right, so looks like we have a total of 25,000 being requested to be removed from supplies and training, travel and lodging, other services, instruction and education, over to equipment. Did anyone have any further questions on that? Hearing none, I look for a motion.
Melissa
To approve this transfer for EMS.
Green will second.
Motion by Troy Sprinkle, seconded by Melissa Green. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Brent. Yep, we're gonna circle back around and bring Josh back up. Oh, salary ordinance. No, we're not there yet. Go ahead, Linda. I'm sorry. It's gonna circle back around. She got about the salary ordinance.
It's back there? Okay. And we had a few things that we wanted to clean up on the salary ordinance. Most of it's just some housekeeping. We had some inconsistencies with the appropriation numbers, so we made those corrections. And the number of positions for the correction officers, when you allowed them to add staff, that didn't get updated, and the maintenance person, the extra maintenance person at the jail wasn't updated at budget time. Probation and court services, the salary range wasn't updated, so we have that. EMS, that was just appropriation numbers. Department of Health, we had some classifications that were inconsistent and some hourly rates that needed to be updated, and we added part-time. Local health services, about the same. We had some classifications that needed updated and some hourly rates that were not updated at that time. Reassessment fund, we just had to change some numbers of positions. And the prosecutor's incentive fund, they have a part-time investigator, and that was just the appropriation number. There was an error in it. The biggest thing is the pay matrix for the sheriff and jail and work release. It was determined it wasn't being implemented the way Dave and Rich expected it to be. So we got together and we worked it out. We're changing it now that you'll move up on the matrix as of your anniversary date, and that will become effective on the next pay after your anniversary date. That's going to make it easier. Otherwise, some people were spending 2 years at year one before they moved up.
Okay. Do we have a number, though, of how all this impacts the bottom line?
It doesn't impact the bottom line at all. These were just things
just
that were
clean up.
inconsistent with how the budget was adopted
Okay, okay.
and how they're being paid.
Yeah, that was,
No, we just did some housekeeping.
okay, okay. I feel better. I can breathe a little easier now. All right, did anyone else have questions like I did?
That was the question.
And we all were? Okay. And then I look for a motion.
Brian Culp will make a motion to approve the salary ordinance cleanup
Amendment.
amendment.
There you go.
Yes, thank you.
Jason Maxwell seconds.
We have a motion by Brian Culp, seconded by Jason Maxwell, to amend the salary ordinance as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Linda, for that clarification. Am I ready for Josh yet?
Ready for Josh?
Hey, he's got good news.
Good question, Vicki.
He's got good news tonight.
Yes, you do.
All right, so the last time I was here, we talked about purchasing property for the recycling center off of Highway 67. You all passed a resolution for us to go ahead and start the due diligence process contingent upon the seller signing the contract. The seller initially rejected the contract. They came back to us. Their family has real estate experience. They said, we want to push back on a handful of issues with the appraisals. We worked with legal. They said, you don't really have other options. You need to take the average 2 appraisals. So we talked to our appraiser, said, here are the things that the seller has issued with. Is there room for consideration? And they said, yes, we can have some wiggle room on the cap rate. That's essentially what adjusted it. So the average 2 appraisals went from $262,500, I believe it was last time I was here, to $298,000. The seller has signed that contract. The commissioners have signed it. All of it's obviously conditional on what happens here this evening. So I have 3 things for you. The first is Resolution 2024-3-4B, which is what you passed the first time, but since the numbers changed, I wanted to give you all an opportunity to supersede the last resolution with the current resolution. Ordinance 2024-5, which was introduced to you at the last meeting, and it has the correct number in it of $298,000, and then the issue of how do we pay for it. And if you decide to move forward on the first 2, we can discuss the best fund from which to do that.
Thank you, Josh.
We're referring to this as a recycle site, but we have intentions of it being an EMS site in the future as well,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
Enough space there that it could accommodate both.
But I mean, I just want the public to realize that it'll be a dual area, multi-purpose.
Owned by the
purchase.
county.
Yeah.
Yes, not shared space. So I think what we have before us is a request for 300,000, correct?
Yeah, at the time, we weren't positive, so we went ahead and budgeted for 300,000, which I'm glad we did now because we have 200 buffer. We advertised it in lots of different funds. We've talked to Reedy. It seems like the best fund for you all to use would be the ARPA money. If you go that route, we don't actually even need to do an additional appropriation. At budget time, you appropriated our projects. If you remember, it's kind of a unique fund. You have to appropriate it, but it's a council-driven account. And so you gave us those project funds, and we would just need to transfer it into a essentially acquisition line item. So you would not need to do an additional if that's the route you would choose to go.
So as far as the site tests, environmental and such, is that paid for by the seller or the buyer?
No, it'll be paid for by us. It's our due
So is
diligence.
this 300 going to be enough?
We'll use contractual services of the existing
You've got
commissioner
some
budget
money in
for
their
that.
funding for that, or in
Okay.
their line item for that. Is it listed, though, that it's contingent upon those tests, how they come back?
Yes.
Okay, that. Okay, I just want to make sure we're not,
Right, we're not locked in. If we
Okay.
find the answer to some of those due diligence questions is negative for us, then we can walk away
can
from the
walk
deal.
away.
Yeah, the purchase agreement is the exhibit to your ordinance.
Right. So I think what we have before us is a decision on where I mean, obviously, I think we were all in consensus last meeting that we want to see this happen and we want the recycle center there, but we've got to decide where we want the funds to come from. And I think Josh is correct on, I mean, in my eyes, ARPA money is where I would like to see it come from so that we can still free up our cumulative capital fund for other things that we may see in the future. But I'm open to discussion. Does it matter what order we do it in?
You can take it whatever order you want. I mean, as long as we're going to do all three actions.
So we have Resolution 2024-3-4B in front of us. You had a chance to review it, folks. Purchase price of $298,000, requires council approval. We have a motion by Chip Keller to approve Resolution 2024-3-4B.
Brian Culp will second.
Second by Brian Culp. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0 to approve the resolution as presented.
Is there a time frame on this?
I believe we put
These
60 days.
Environmental tests don't take that long, do they?
Yeah, I think we put 60 days in.
Perfect.
Fantastic. What's next, though?
So the next would be the ordinance.
Yeah.
24-5.
Has everyone had a chance to review that ordinance, 2024-5? Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-5 for the purchase of land.
Brian
Motion
Culp
by-
will second.
Motion by Chip Keller to approve 2024-5 ordinance, seconded by Brian Culp. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. And now, where would you like that money to come from, folks?
I think ARPA is the best. I'll make a motion that we pull the money from the ARPA funds,
In the amount of $300,000.
Melissa Green will,
$100,000.
Melissa Green will second.
We have a motion to approve the property acquisition total of $300,000 for the commissioners from ARPA funds. All those and that was a motion by Vicki Kivett, seconded by Melissa Green. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Great, thanks,
Thank
council.
you. Glad to see that all taken. Thank you for your hard work on that, both of you. Okay. It does. Yeah, it does. Yep. So our next meeting is going to be a little different for May because it would normally have been on May the 6th, but that's the night before election, and they'll be setting up in here. So we had voted earlier in the year to change that to Wednesday, May 8th at 6:30. So mark your calendars for the 6:30 meeting on May 8th will be our next meeting. Any other business to come before the council this evening?
To say happy birthday to John Phillips sitting up front here.
Aw, happy birthday, John. Thank you for always being here. You are one of our devout attendants. You are always here. We appreciate that. Happy birthday.
Do we need to approve the contract for purchase also, Ann? Or is that, it's on the agenda, I just want to.
So we're good.
Good catch. Don't leave, we've got papers to sign. But with nothing else to come before the council, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
In a second, all those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Here.
One step closer to having recycling.